Good morning, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson from way down in LA, and I'm looking forward to this day. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's kind of cold down here, though. I don't know about you, but LA, if you're new to the show, that means Lower Alabama. I didn't pull that out of my accent. So anyway, yeah, this is the Action News Show that is typically with the Transgender Diverse Veterans of America Action Group and our advocacy side and stuff like that. That's the side that we can do all this talking and going after people who are actually going after us, okay? And that's all we do on this show. We do that. So anyway, we've got a few news items I wanted to address up front and get that out of the way, and then we'll just jump into Project 2025 again. But one of the biggest things is, I just heard that Dr. Marcy Bowers is going to be at the Atlanta Comfort Conference next year, which is awesome. It's fantastic. It's very cool. Glad to have that her down there. And let me see if I can fade out the music now and get that out of the way. Hold on. Thanks. Turn it back up. No. Okay. That should be it. All right. So, yes. Welcome. It is chilly here. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I got down to whatever it was last night. I don't know, but it feels cold. I had to put thermal socks on. Whew. I think it might have been 30. It feels like it was. I don't know if it was or not, but it feels like it for sure. So definitely a live show. If you're watching, you watch on Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. It's all there. You can go check it out. We're all over the darn place. You can find us on the website as well. And the website that's right there on your screen right now, the tdva-ag.com. That is our Transgender Diverse Veterans of America Action Group. And go check that out. You can go watch there. You can comment in there, leave your comments there. I'm going to put a link for anyone. If you want to join me on stage, you can do that as well. Share it. It'll be shared over in the comments section on whichever platform you're on. It will automatically show up on all of them, I think. I'm not sure about the website, though. It should, though. I'll paste that. And there you go. It's over now on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. I don't see the Twitter link up there, but anyway, it's active. Twitter is active. So anyway, you can come and join us and get the talking and chatting. It actually is very helpful if I have somebody in here to talk with and to talk, kind of bounce ideas back and forth, and to kind of have a conversation. Because, it can be challenging to have a conversation with yourself sometimes, but hey, it can be done. But I do want to just jump into some news items really quickly. First, like I said, just found out just moments ago that Dr. Marcy Bowers, is going to be at Atlanta Comfort Conference next year. I think it's October or August of next year. I'm not sure the exact date, but it's sometime later in the year. And moving along swimmingly with that. Another big piece of news is yesterday I was invited to go to an in-person presentation at the VA's main office in D.C. There on Vermont Avenue, or might be Avenue or Boulevard or something. Anyways, Vermont. Just right across the street, basically, from the White House. So I'll be right there. The event takes place on the 20th, November the 20th, and it runs from, I think it's 11:30 a.m., something like that. So if I do a news show, it'll just be a broadcast from there if they allow me to do that. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. I'm looking to see if we can get that presentation or the discussion there broadcast live so all of our members can watch if they so desire. I know that our friend in the Center for Minority Veterans at VA, or VA main office, VAMO, I think they're actually looking at it to check it out to see if it's possible for us to have our members come on board and watch in some way or the other. So we can get a link out there so you can actually participate. And we can do that, broadcasting that thing across these same platforms if anyone wants that, or if that's acceptable to the VA. So anyway, looking forward to being in DC. If we have any of our friends and family and members up there, or anyone who wants to meet, I'm particularly looking forward to trying to set up some meetings with other organizations in that area. While I'm in DC, I will be arriving at about, I think it's, my arrival time is like 1:10 or 1:15 Sunday afternoon, Eastern time. I'll have the afternoon and evening to be able to do any kind of meetings and stuff to set up there on Sunday. Monday morning will be, like I said, 11:30 is when the event starts. And that morning, I'd love to be able to meet some people, just have some conversations and we have got to get started to working together and get our narrative built together, folks. Really do. And then the meeting and the keynote speaker, by the way, the keynote speaker for this, the person, it's a fireside chat kind of format. And so the keynote is going to be the Honorable Sean Skelly. And most of us know who Sean Skelly is, you know, in the Department of Defense for the acting Undersecretary for Readiness. I know there's a full name description for that. Let me see if I can find it, but I'll find that in a minute and get into it. But anyway, that's who's going to be there talking. I'm looking forward to meeting with Miss Skelly. And so that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of good stuff. That's on the Transgender Day of Remembrance, though. So there's a lot of things going on at that point in time too. We're just trying to remember and acknowledge those who have passed. And I do know that one of our team members had been working for a number of years now, trying to put together a list of all the transgender people who had died, who were service members, died in the terms of like, being murdered or something like that. And so we needed to know that Transgender Day of Remembrance. I was trying to find that. And I know of two, but there may be others. Three, I think there's a third one also, one that was from Kentucky. But anyway, yeah. So I'm looking for all of these things and try to get that together. We'd love to have it. Maybe Sean's got that. I don't know. We'll see, because we've been looking for about 2 years trying to figure out who those people are. And it's hard to determine that because, the people who have been many times are misidentified in the news, even in the police reports, they're misidentified, or transgender veterans and transgender people are misidentified and misgendered and every darn thing else there. And so it's really hard to identify that when it occurs. Because some of that information was never reported, and then there's also cases where they just go unreported at all. Period. Just not accounted for at all. Go unknown or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there. But that's Transgender Day. Remember, it's at the Center for Minority Veterans Affairs at the VA Central Office, or main office. It's the same thing, but they use different acronyms. Where it's VAMO or VA. Central Office, VACO or VAMO or whatever, whichever one you want. I don't care. That's the main headquarters on Vermont there near the White House. So looking forward to being there. But like I said, going to have the afternoon of Sunday, the morning of Monday, before the meeting at 11:30 Eastern, and then the afternoon of Monday. Hopefully we can get together with some other organizations and some of our members in that area up there and actually have a conversation face-to-face, because to me, the face-to-face stuff, as much as I do this and as much as I connect with this kind of technology and the technological connections and stuff, it's still the personal things that matter the most to me. It's getting out there in your face and actually saying, hey, let me give you a hug, because, really it's very selfish kind of hug, because look, I'm looking for a hug too, but I want to give them as well, because I just want to make sure that people are seen and heard and acknowledged for who they are, right where they are, where they live, work, and play, because that's important to us, right? It's just an important factor in all of our lives. So if we can do that as leaders in this community, then we should be doing it. And I know that all of us do, most of us do, wherever we can. If we could do so, we do it. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. I've already got things taken care of. If anybody wants to make some contributions toward that, you can do so. Just go to the website and find the donation button and just make a contribution to help that process along. And yeah, I already know, I've already got things lined up. I've already paid for, out of my pocket, I've already paid for the flight up there. I paid for the hotel room, which I'll pay when I get there. And then also, this is what I go through thinking these things through. I actually have already taken care of paying for the parking space at the Birmingham Airport here in Alabama, International Airport. Got that paid for, and then also paid for on my phone. I put an app on my phone that allows me to use the metro system. I just tap and pay. I already got that loaded, ready to go. I mean, everything's taken care of. But please contribute to help defray some of those expenses or costs to make it to the organization, though. And any contributions you make to tdva-ag.com are not tax deductible, because this is a C4 type organization. If you want to be of a tax deductible donation, you have to go over to our other website, which is over here. Let me see if I can pull that one up here. Go to the banners. Hold on one second. The one scrolling across the bottom down here, there are two different ones. So you've got TDVA Online, www.tdva online, that's the C3 contributions there are actually tax deductible, and the one to the tdva-ag.com, that's not tax deductible. So let me hide that again. Let's put the other one back up here. Now, this disclaimer, I want to make sure everybody reads the disclaimer and at least sees this. The one big thing, and I don't know if it's said in this or not, is that if anyone does come on the backstage with us and seeks to be on stage with us, the one thing I expect is civility. And I'll hold you to it. You can come in here and say what you want. I'm not going to shut down anyone from coming in. But the moment your conversation turns less than civil or respectful or anti-Semitic, well, I'll definitely just shut you off. That's all there is to it, period. Just not into that crap. No freaking way, okay? All right, so done that. Let me see what else can we jump into. As I said, we just start at the top. We're going to go over and take a look at a few news headlines. I do this because I want you to know that there's things out there that, you know, that are interesting. You can go read them and find them yourself wherever you want. You can go check it out. And then come on board, you know, go read it. Let's talk about them if you'd like. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing that at all. Actually, I love doing that. So let me go over and fine, I already did that. Let me go present. We'll do this, and then we'll jump into the meat of what we're going to talk about. Bum, bum, bum. I'll go find the window. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. All right, so this is from Microsoft. This is Microsoft Start, Microsoft Bing. This is my news feed. And the very first one, this obviously is an algorithm that feeds me the things that I've been reading all along, but you know, I read all kinds of stuff, so it's kind of mixed. Not really interested in that. That's just bullshit. Here's one we'll talk about in a second. This is what that's big. Oh, I tell you what, let's just stop with that one and go right here. This is talking about Israeli-Hamas war and some questions that you can ask yourself. This is in USA Today. And this is by I think it's the daughter or granddaughter. Her father was in Auschwitz, and she talks about this a lot. Ellie Weissel. Yeah, definitely a very interesting thing here. But she goes down through here, starts talking about asking some questions, things you should ask. Let me go down through here and just see this. Ask questions of those who justify violence in Hamas. And this is exactly the things that I've put out there as well. So let me make sure the size is big enough for everyone to read. I think it is. Okay. When you chant that Palestine should be free from the river to the sea, what does that actually mean? And what happened after Israel unilaterally withdrew from Gaza in 2005, the stated goals of Hamas, and there's links on you. You can go check it out yourself. Hamas hides behind civilians. Yeah, we know that. Hamas is a terrorist organization. We will state that emphatically. And they use the Palestinian people to get this long-term generational goal of hatred towards Israel and Jewish people. And, you know, they just want to destroy them. That's what they've always wanted. It's something that has lasted for thousands of years for some freaking odd, stupid reason. Okay? What would happen if Israel if it pulled completely out of the West Bank tomorrow, as it did with Gaza? Okay? Yeah, we can see that one too, right? You know what would happen there. Let's go on to the next one. Just quickly go through here. Republicans turn on Mike Johnson over Israel aid package. I'm not even going to touch that one. I know what's going on with that. We all do, right? Okay, you clearly see the parallels to the Proud Boys. Retired four-star general issues terrifying warning about Trump. And the person who made this is not General Miley. It's Barry McCaffrey. Four-star General Barry McCaffrey shared a worrisome warning about what could happen if Trump is reelected. Yeah, I know. We all know that. We're absolutely just trying not to let that happen because we know just how far over in the authoritarian theocratic regime it would fall fast. Fascist. Exactly. Sure would. North Korea issues ominous warning of preemptive nuclear weapons use in response to undisguised military provocation by the U.S. And here's something to be concerned about. I think North Korea has closed, about 20, or will be closing about 20 of its embassies around the world in the next little bit. A lot of people are saying that it might be in relation to the economic boycott, stuff like that we're doing, that the whole world is trying to do against North Korea. That could be part of it, but it also is a worrying statement this time, right now. Let me see. Texas A&M Nursing School required commitment to diversity and inclusion for faculty hires. For the life of me, I don't see what the problem is with that. Absolutely, you want people to be committed to diversity and inclusion. Really, absolutely you do. Because we all know that there are social determinants of health that determine everything. We also know there are barriers to entrance into these positions of nursing and teaching that are there, that have been there, and they're just really hard for most people who look like me to see. But if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, there's this barrier that I've been seeing and what's happening to get hired here, for me, for whomever it is that's telling you that, then maybe you should listen rather than try to shut them down. Maybe you should just listen to them, okay? Because there's very likely a legitimate reason for why they say that, folks. Anyway, I'm not going to jump into that one. The scourge of anti-Semitism is now global and inescapable. It has been global for 1,000 years, folks, not except for here in the U.S. We brought it with us because the natives here, the indigenous population, had no idea about anti-Semitism prior to the arrival of us from Europe. We brought it with us. Yeah, and it's right there. My goodness. All right, so next one, just a headline touch here, praying for Armageddon. Yes, see, now, this is one thing that most people probably don't think about, but there are a whole group of religious leaders out there who are hoping for Armageddon. Armageddon meaning the big battle that takes place in the Middle East. That is talked about in the book of Revelations in the New Testament. Yeah, that. There are people who are wishing for that. There are people who are standing there going, throw some rocks, let them come in, let's go get them, go get them, go get them. Like, Iran trying to intimidate the United States into taking a massive action against them. Big action, because people here in the United States are pushing for it. And there's a line at which you have to stay on this side of to keep from actually creating a large global war right there. Geez, really, that's exactly what's going on, folks. But there are people pushing for this, and they have for years. This is nothing new. Nothing new. Praying for Armageddon. Yep, exactly. Okay, we're stopping the sharing part right there for a minute. Checking to see if there are any comments. No. I'll do a quick rundown through the Twitter feed. And okay, let me just see. No one knows a child like their parent. That's true, mostly. A lot of parents don't know their kids because the kids are different when they leave the house. If you've had kids, you know what I mean. And if you've been a child, you also know what I mean. That's just the way it is. You're one way with your parents and your parents are one way with you. But the moment you step out and go to the school or whatever, get away from there, you are totally not the same person, folks. If you just look back on your kid years, on your childhood years, as an adult, you look back and you see all that, you're going to go, oh my God, yes, that was definitely not what my parents expected. So yeah, that's kind of a double-edged statement right there, American Principles. No one knows a child like their parents. That's not entirely true. Let's see what's underneath this. Should not be censored. Let's see. Tlaib should not be censored, should be removed from Congress. They said, no, Gunther, she should not be removed. Her people elected her to represent them from her district, and you don't have a say on that if you're not in her district. Just the way it is. Heritage Foundation, scrolling on down. Oh, let me see. Replying to Senator Hawley from Missouri, and Secretary Mayorkas is pulling hundreds of DHS agents from investigated child and drug trafficking cases to process more illegal aliens. This, while there are at least 1.7 million unvetted aliens who evaded Border Patrol roaming the U.S. That's probably more than that. That's always been the case too. I mean, you can go back for a long time and find that that's the case. All right. And I'm talking about a long time as in 100 years, not this recent iteration of unmitigated just bias. Anyway, don't know who that person is. Shilling, main shooter, just scrolling on down through you. Who is this creep? I don't know. I don't care. I don't know about that one. Let's go see what the comments were over here on this side. Somebody followed me, and it's probably just somebody that really don't care. Liked your cop. I said, this is what somebody said this. No, I said this actually. Says, that's just so much of a word salad of jumbled up ideologies in your statement, Kevin. That it makes no sense at all. I was replying to Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation. Okay. And this is my comment to Taylor Swift, following her here on Twitter. And I said, Taylor Swift, transgender Americans are scared. My people, transgender diverse veteran Americans are scared too. We need your help. If Heritage Foundation Project 2025 gets implemented, every minority in America will be erased and deleted. Their words, not mine. Oh. So far, I haven't heard back from Taylor. That was posted a couple weeks ago, something like that. And then somebody else liked my response to something. They said, both wrong. No one has the right to force another person to agree with them or use words they prefer. They can say whatever they want. It's their right. It's on them if they don't know how to be civil. And neither person in this clip seems to know what civility means. And this was a clip, by the way, about someone yelling at some other person in a public setting or in some kind of situation, and saying that you've got to use she, her pronouns. Well, no, they don't have to, folks. Look, listen, they don't have to. You cannot tell them and force them to use things that identify you. You have to be strong enough to sit there and go, fine, you can say whatever the hell you want. I don't really care. You know, that's on you. If you don't want to be civil about it or decent and respectful about it, fine, that's also on you. But it goes both ways. That discivility, that lack of civility, if we don't show it ourselves to people, then guess what? It's going to turn up in some news feed somewhere, just like what I was responding to right there. Anyway. So, how's everyone doing today? I see no comments over there. I know some people are watching, but I don't know who. Let me see if it actually says. Oh, hi. Hi, Gary. How you doing? Appreciate the love. Appreciate the love. I didn't even know it would do that. Oh, okay. Learn something new. So I hope you're doing well, Gary. I know that some things were going on, and I just really do hope things are going well for you. So thank you for watching. So anyway, Project 2025. Let's take a look into this one again. So a couple of days now, I've been just spending a lot of time, about half of the time really, on news and me pontificating on issues that I see out there in the world right now, and things that are going on. And you know, there's so much going on in this world right there today. I did see something earlier it was a news story from Jonathan Turley again. Jonathan Turley. Like I said yesterday, he and I probably disagree on about 99.9% of everything that he and I would say. But there's a few things that we may agree on, that we actually do agree on. And one of them is the fact that Hamas is a terrorist organization. That's just flat out the truth. Hamas is the one oppressing the Palestinian people. Hamas is the problem. If Hamas went away and the other terrorist organizations in there, Islamic Jihad, if these other terrorist organizations went away, then the Palestinian people would be able to thrive and prosper and succeed and have healthy, fulfilling lives, period. So, I mean, that's just the truth, folks. It's Hamas. It's the problem. Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005. Then Hamas took over. Now, obviously, the people elected Hamas in there. So there's some issues to deal with on that side of things. But Hamas has turned it into a authoritarian, theocratic kind of thing. Now, yeah, they aren't exactly as bad as ISIL or ISIS or any of those. Are not nearly as bad as that, but these other groups also support them, and it would be an easy jump for them to go do that. But anyway, Turley was right. Jonathan Turley was right on that one. And so I fully agree with Jonathan Turley on it. But this morning he put out another statement. It was about Disney and free speech. And so, Gary, I'm glad you're doing well. Good, good, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My gosh, that's good news to hear right there. Appreciate it. And yes, absolutely, absolutely. So he was talking about Disney and he was talking about free speech. Now, here's the conundrum that a lot of people will have to face. Most of us, many of us, are strongly opposed to Citizens United, the one that made corporations, brought them up there, gave them personhood so that they could actually spend untold amounts of money and unaccountable amounts of money towards political campaigns and get involved in politics and all this kind of stuff. Well, Turley actually did say something I agree with in this point, because one, Disney is pushing a free speech case in the state of Florida. And right now that's a big problem down there because, you know, Disney came out in opposition to the Don't Say Gay bill and stuff like that. Well, Disney is defending its right for free speech as a corporation. They're able to do that through Citizens United. And there's many of us over on this side who are just going, yay for Disney, not realizing that it's Citizens United that gave them that right to do that. So are we going to be hypocrites about it and demand that that Citizens United go away? Or what are we going to do here? And that's essentially what Turley was saying too. That's the conflict that they have on that side as well. You know, is that, you know, do we stand with Citizens United? Does Disney have the right to protest its free speech, since under Citizens United it is personhood and can do that? Well, you know, until Citizens United is overturned, as it should be, Disney has a right to use it. But for me to say that I'm opposed to Citizens United, yeah, I'd like to still stand on that. At the same time, kind of grimace and say, go Disney? I don't know, you know. So, no, I'm actually strongly opposed to Citizens United. But since it's here, and I happen to agree with what Disney did, it's kind of there's a lot of gray for me right in that area. I can't definitively say that they shouldn't be doing it, but because obviously the law is there on their side to do it, or at least the court case is on their side to do it. So how do we approach this? Well, one is I maintain emphatically, and I'll stand with Turley. And unfortunately, the only other person in Congress who said anything against it happens to be the one person who is also one of our biggest threats. But yet he came out just yesterday, I think it was, and tried to put out a bill on the floor in the House to let's see, undo Citizens United. Matt Gaetz from down in Florida. Geez. Well, I happen to agree with Matt Gaetz on this one, not on anything else he says, but on this one, he's right about Citizens United. He's right to put in there, try to push through an amendment or a bill to undo Citizens United. That's the right thing to be doing. However, everything else he stands for, as far as I can tell at this point, we are as far apart as you can possibly get. But it's not going to happen in Congress. You're not going to get that bill to go through Congress. Oh my God, neither the left nor the right in Congress, in the halls of Congress, Democrats or Republicans, none of them most are not going to stand up there and say, yeah, we want to get rid of Citizens United. Because obviously they're getting a lot of money from these corporations that have a lot of money. Maybe if we tax them a little more, they wouldn't have so much, you know, extra cash just laying around. And it would help our budget deficit too. So let's see, let's raise the taxes back up to 50%. 70% back in the 50s, right? 1950s. But anyway, yeah, that way if we raise the taxes, they're not going to have a bunch of money to spend on politicians. But in order to get to the place where you can get Citizens United passed through the House and the Senate, well, you can guarantee, let me put it another way, you can guarantee, like Justin Wilson said, the chef from Louisiana, you can guarantee that is not going to happen. They're going to put a lot of money out there to stop it because Citizens United is benefiting them. They're getting to play both sides of the fence with all the money they've got. But the question back again, what Jonathan Turley was talking about was free speech and Disney's right under Citizens United to actually stand up and say that. And that's correct. They have that. And that free speech argument comes to them by Citizens United. And so we can't really pick and choose. I still want you Citizens United to go away. That's just, it's got to go away. It's the biggest thing in the country that actually does away with the impact of an individual to have a say in in our government. When a corporation can act like a voting member of the population and spend thousands and millions of dollars to sway elections the way they want it to go, or to sway votes on issues the way they want it to go, and they're playing both sides of the fence just to be safe, if there's an issue that they support, they'll pour money toward it and to the people who support it. And if the people on the other side are opposed to it, well, they'll make sure that the only way they get money is if they oppose it. I mean, this goes back and forth, left and right all the time. That's just the way it is, Anyway, so there's another point that I happen to agree with Turley on. Phew, I wonder how many more there are out there. But at least that tells me that there's common ground for a discussion here, folks. There's a common way to look at the world and approach the world. If we just find those things, then maybe we can talk to each other and talk with each other and not at each other. To me, that is the most crucial thing we could possibly be doing, is talk with each other and not at each other. And right now I'm doing a lot of talking at this screen. I'd love to talk to some other people, but hey, that's fine. I can do this all day long. And occasionally, like a friend told me yesterday, I'll laugh and flip my hair back. All right, what are we talking about? I don't know if my friend is watching from Florida or not. But anyway, I do want to get into Project 2025 and just kind of show you again what we're looking at. I brought this up yesterday in a meeting with some friends from other organizations. We were meeting with the VA, talking about the GRACE survey that we had done, that we were a part of, getting the messaging right on. And so with that, we had several people in there who, I'm not sure they heard about, some of them had not heard about Project 2025. They knew who Heritage Foundation was, or at least heard the name. They didn't know, though, that Heritage Foundation is the most powerful and influential conservative organization in this country. The most. Been around 50 years, folks. 50 years. And at the end of 2022, in their pocket, according to their 990 filing with the IRS, they had $265 million left over after the year's expenses in 2022. They and about 70 other organizations, all like-minded organizations, plowed about $22 million into this thing called Project 2025. They all got together in April of 2022, and they all came up with this plan and this way, this strategy, this playbook, this very detailed plan of what they wanted to do. Now, their plan is, they are focused a little on getting the House and the Senate on their side, but for them to carry out the things that they want to do, they don't have to win those two. All they've got to do is win the presidency, win the executive branch, because it's the executive branch that oversees all these agencies and departments that they want to get to change and to shrink. Ostensibly, their goal is to shrink the whole of government and limited government, reduce the administrative state, that fourth leg, essentially, that operates the United States and carries out the functions of our government. And they have to, though, because, there aren't enough people in Congress to manage every darn single thing that happens out there. So definitely you've got to have an administrative state to take care of it. But The Heritage Foundation has long wanted that administrative state to go away. And that's what they state in Project 2025. But the question you've got to ask yourself is, how are they going to do that and when? Well, they've got a few other goals they want to accomplish before they shrink the whole government. They really do. I mean, they've got other things they want to do. And you can go check this thing out. You can go right straight to their page. I'll show you in a second here. You can go right straight to their page, project2025.org, and read the document. Don't buy the book. Don't give them another $35. They've got enough money. You can download it free directly from their site too. But, you know, go read the thing. Go read it. And all you have to do is read the first 7 or 8 numbered pages, the numbered pages. That might be like scrolling on a PDF document, maybe 34 or something like that. But a lot of that is, you know, introduction and list of contributors and all this kind of stuff, and the Roman numeral identified pages. And then when the numbered pages start with the foreword, which was written by Dr. Roberts, Kevin Roberts, who is president of Heritage Foundation and of Heritage Action, because they have a C4 group too, just like we do. So that's in the forward is where you get the general, you get the flavor of what's going on, and they carry it out throughout the rest of those 920 pages. But the thing is, it covers everything. It covers everything across the whole executive branch of the government. You know what the executive branch of the government represents, folks? That's every agency and department out there. Every agency, you know, like Department of Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, let's see, Department of Defense, the VA, National Institute of Health, Defense Health Agency, the DIA and the CIA and FBI and Justice Department and Agriculture and Department of Energy, and you know, all of those departments and agencies out there that are part of the executive branch of the federal government. They're not going to shrink that thing from day one. No, they have another goal, another purpose right on top of that. That's the overarching goal. As I said, that's the overarching goal. They want to try to get rid of the administrative state, or at least shrink it and put the power back into the hands of the Congress. And there's some justification for that. Don't get me wrong, there's justification for that part of it, but not at the expense of actually getting the government to actually operate. You can't just shut down all these things and then just say, okay, Congress can make a decision on how much or what that department should look like over there in that agency and whatever. You know, micromanaging everything. You got some professionals to know what they're doing. Let them do it. Okay, but there's some limits to that. All right, so what is it they want to do, though? What is it they want to do that's even bigger, more important to them than limiting the scope of the administrative state? Hey, it's getting rid of us, getting rid of the minorities, getting rid of half of America, because, you know, we just aren't American enough for them, apparently. And they actually say that several times throughout the darn foreword. Dr. Roberts wrote the foreword. And you better take him at his word for this, folks. If you don't think this is a threat, if you don't think this is real, oh my God, you got another thing coming. We sit back here and all they have to do is take the White House. If they lose the Congress, if they lose the House of Representatives and lose the Senate, but yet take the White House, then they're going to do 2 things right off the bat, or 3, that first day. They'll do 3 things, 3 big things that very first day. First one is they'll go in there and reinstitute what's known as Project or Schedule F. Schedule F gives the president the authority to fire anyone at will. It's a fire at will or hire at will. It's a, what do they call it? Anyway, so that's basically what it is. You can hire and fire at will. Without having any justification for doing so. All you just have to do is say, okay, you're gone, putting somebody else in your place. Talk about nepotism on the extreme side. You would think that we'd learned something from back when Andrew Jackson was president, right? Nepotism abounded. I'm not going to go into the history on that one. I've studied a little bit, just a little bit, about Andrew Jackson and the time he was before he was and after he was, during when he was president of the United States. But anyway, so the nepotism that was rampant then and rampant throughout this country for so long, well, it's the administrative state that actually put a stop to it to a certain degree. It didn't end at all. Anyway, Schedule F allows the president to hire and fire whomever he wishes, he or they, whomever that person wishes. And that's all it will. And so you got to do that first. And then the next thing you've got to do is go in and replace all of the people that and all the agencies that you want. And you got to, you really need some trained and vetted and prepared people to go in and do that. And typically the president goes through this transition period of hiring and vetting people and all that stuff, like a month or a month and a half before they stick their hand in the air and say, so help me God. Well, just imagine what it would be like if they didn't have to do that. Just imagine how much more they could get accomplished if somebody else did that work for them and actually had a plan to do it, 2 years prior, like the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025. That's exactly what they're doing, folks. They're setting up a training academy to make this happen. So they can vet and train people to step into the whole of the federal government and go, that we don't like, or that we do like, or we'll take this and, and we don't need you, you're gone, or something like that. But they are Heritage with Project 2025 is going to be training and vetting, and has already started training and vetting people to fill all those roles. And the presidential candidates on that side of the fence, the conservative ones, they've already started showing that they're in tune with all of this. All you have to do is watch the narrative that they talk about a lot out on the road when they're campaigning, and watch and see what Heritage and Washington Examiner is doing, and the Daily Signal is doing, and these different conservative publications, Epoch News, whatever, that you can go into those and check them out. Well, you start seeing the same narrative format kind of following this pattern and trend. Okay, you start seeing it and you realize, yeah, there's a guiding hand over all of this. It's not a strict guiding hand that says this, 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 and this, but they've all coalesced around this Project 2025. You can see it. So what are those people going to do when they get into those positions of power? Well, Kevin Roberts points it out very clearly. It doesn't take him long to tell you what he's after. One is, I think, the very first thing that they're after is us, transgender people. I mean, we have become the target du jour. You don't believe it? Read Project 2025. These people are damn serious about removing and erasing us. So all you have to do is go down a few paragraphs and you start to realize, or you see, there's one paragraph that says explicitly, and what I'm talking about, it says explicitly, we're going to erase these things because, it infringes upon the rights of the First Amendment rights of Americans, as if we aren't Americans too. And that's deliberate. That's a very deliberate thing that they're doing when I say that. Let me go over to Project 2025 while I'm talking about this, but Project 2025 will seek to erase all of us, delete and excise any minority or way of describing these minorities in the whole of government. And it's dangerous, folks. It's really dangerous. So let me just go in here and share this page with you. I'm going to present a page that's from their website, project2025.org. Go up here to share this link and that one. All right, so now you're looking at this Project 2025. It's the Presidential Transition Project. Mandate for Leadership is the name of the book or the series that they're working on. And this is the front page. And you can see it's got several sections, your policy, personnel training, playbook, and all that. We'll kind of hit some of those in a few minutes rather quickly. But it's not enough for conservatives to win elections. We got to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left. Okay, yeah. The goal of the Presidential 2025 Presidential Transition Project. That's what the goal is. And you can read more about Project 2025 there. They got their updates down through here. There's a policy agenda, the personnel database. That's back to the training academies again. They want to be able to hand that new president the whole slate of people they need to go into all those offices and do what they want them to do. Training right here, 180-day playbook. We're going to try to accomplish all this stuff within the first 180 days. And obviously, yes, there will be litigation to stop its implementation. People will sue them and take them to court over it. And it'll be litigated for a while. And I mean, but the damage will be done just by them getting in there and starting it. And eventually, if they keep nibbling away at it, that's the whole game plan. You nibble away just a little bit here and there, you can get it all. If you don't get it all at once, you can nibble away at it, okay, until you find a way to do it. And let me be very clear. The right and the left use these tactics. It's not just something from the right, folks. Don't think that. And another thing I want to make sure of is that the people who are doing this, they are just as American as we are. They have every right to believe and, think the things they want to think and to even plan for those things and even to create this project. They have every right to do it. They are as American as you and I, as apple pie, whatever. I don't want to hear anybody on our side saying that's anti-American or un-American or they're just not American enough, like Roberts did in the foreword. Anyone who is not these things, who, if you fall into these terms, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Let me go back up to the policy itself and I'll show you. This is the policy. I'll show you what I'm talking about because there's a paragraph that's actually very just spooky crazy. Mandate for leadership. Don't buy the book, folks. You can go down here and actually read the mandate right here. Click on that mandate, wait for it to populate up. You can actually download this if you want, share it, download it, whatever you want to do, put it on your desktop, take your time to read through it. Mandate for leadership. Give proper credit. This is out 2023 by Heritage Foundation, Washington, D.C. And this is their stuff and it's copyrighted for them and we cannot use it. But I'm going to tell you, the structure they use here is phenomenally well organized and laid out. That structure that's in this thing. Yeah, we can learn a lot from that one, folks. One of the biggest things is we need to learn how to do this part. Let me get down through here past those chapter sections and all of that. Acknowledgement, I'm not going to worry about that too much either. But here's what they did, see? This is what makes this thing so powerful because now you got all these other organizations buying into this same narrative, folks. They don't agree on every single point, as none of us would agree on every single point either. That's just the way it is. We know that. But, they've got all the big institutions and organizations and, other nonprofits around the country that are all conservative and are all part of a network that are, part of Heritage. And there's a state policy network, the SPN, the State Policy Network. You can find them at statepolicynetwork.org. Just look it up. There's maybe an acronym for it there. But anyway, so look up State Policy Network. State Policy Network was created by one of the founders of the Heritage Foundation. But it's the one that creates all these different organizations. There's a bunch of institutions and foundations that are in every state in the nation. Alabama Policy Institute is part of the State Policy Network, which is part of Heritage Foundation. It's all tied together. But you can see all this. There's, I don't know how many was in this one, but all total, there's more than 75 now, I think, who have signed on. And then you go down through here on a note on Project 2025. This was written by, let me just kind of review some of the pillars here really quickly. This project is built on 4 pillars. I just showed you this just a second ago. You've got pillar 1, which is the policy, essentially, this volume. Pillar number 2 is the personnel database. Pillar 3 is the Presidential Administration Academy, which they have already stood up. Ron DeSantis was their first speaker with the project, or for the Mandate for Leadership series number 1, episode 1, Friday a week ago, this past week. So Ron DeSantis has been out there, NDC and the conference hall there at the Heritage Foundation's headquarters. And pillar number 3 is, like I said, is the Academy. Pillar number 4 is the playbook, that 180-day playbook I was talking about before. Paul Dans is an attorney, is the director for Project 2025. But the president for all of this is Kevin Roberts. All right, so these are some of the people. I'm not going to stop there and take a look at them. That's just a bunch of people, contributors. You got all the different, there's 400 and some contributors who put in their words into this. And look, you're at Hillsdale College, Heritage Foundation, Center for Immigration Studies, I don't know who stepped to it. Johnson is a law firm, Alliance Defending Freedom. Yeah, one of the biggest groups out there that goes after anything that has to do with minority people, particularly LGBT and T minorities. That's Alliance Defending Freedom. You've got America First Legal, which is Stephen Miller, talking, or the really ultra conservative immigration person that was a senior advisor to President Trump. And that, the young kid is about, I don't know, he's mid to upper 30s now, probably, something like that. Anyway, so you've got all these people who contributed to this thing, folks, and put it all together. So let's just go right on down. There's a bunch, about 400 or so of those. Now we're going down to the foreword by Dr. Roberts. Yes, here we go, folks. Now, before you even look, I want to do one thing for you. I want to show you something here. You can go up here to the little question mark on the side. Question mark right there. And let's just type in something like, let's type in transgender, just to see how many times, or where it occurs and how many times. And enter. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Look, right there in the second paragraph of the foreword. What does it say? Let me find the beginning of that sentence. It says, okay, look at America under the ruling cultural elite today. Inflation is ravaging the family budget, and that's true. Drug overdose deaths continue to escalate. That's true. And children suffer the toxic normalization of transgenderism, with drag queens and pornography invading their school libraries. Now, that's not true. But the unwitting would go, true, true. Oh, it must be true too, because the other two are true, because what Kevin Roberts said is true. Well, no. See, this is the no. Let's see. Where's the next one, folks? Let me go on down to the next one. Let's see. Where's the next case of this? Okay. And this would be here, right here. And this actually starts in page 4. This is also in the foreword, folks. And this says, and this one is worth highlighting right here. You can actually highlight this whole darn thing. And then we'll just go down through these first 2 paragraphs right here in this on page 4. The first one at the bottom of page 4 and the top of page 5. And I'm just going to read these to you, because this is what they mean. They are actually telling you exactly what they plan to do within the first 180 days if they win the presidency. And this is all about the presidency. This is not about the House or the Senate. They don't have to have them to do this. They don't have to have them at all. They'll be sued like crazy over when they start taking these steps. Absolutely. Be litigated for years, probably. But the damage will have been done if they even begin this process, folks. The damage will have been done. The next conservative president, you notice they didn't say Congress or the Senate. They said the next conservative president must make. Now, this is militancy. You think there's militancy on our side over here fighting for our rights to live freely in this country and to have all the blessings and secure the blessings of liberty that we're guaranteed under the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and all that kind of stuff? Well, you think we're militant about that? This is militancy too. The next conservative president must make the institutions of American civil society hard targets for woke culture warriors. Oh my God. This starts with deleting. Look, this starts with deleting the terms sexual orientation, gender identity, which is SOGI, diversity, equity, inclusion, D&I, gender, gender equality, equity, awareness, sensitivity, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and then the catch-all part. And any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights out of every, now look, before I read out of every anything, what they're saying here is that this term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights. They're completely ignoring the First Amendment rights of the other half of the country, of their fellow Americans, folks. We don't qualify for First Amendment rights, is what they're saying. And they're saying, what are we going to do? How are they going to take care of this? Out of every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant, even, regulation and piece of legislation that exists, emphatically stated. That's exactly what they plan to do. And if they can do that, you know what happens? The research that the National Institute of Health is doing under my friend Karen Parker in the National Institute of Health, the Sexual Orientation Gender Identity Lab research section, they won't be able to do that work. Because one, if you can't use the words to define this population, then the work stops, because you can't put the words in any kind of grant to get a, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't just change words and think that they're going to let that go through. No, they won't let you do that. If they get in, they will take these things and shut it down. And it's not just in the National Institute of Health, folks. The VA Center for Minority Veterans, the VA's Office of the LGBTQ plus veterans, diversity offices, all those things will go away. The Transgender Health Office that's in the Department of, or the Defense Health Agency, goes away. These are all under the executive authority of the president, the executive branch of government. Those are all executive branch agencies, departments, and areas, or whatever. Yeah, this is dangerous. This is frighteningly dangerous. All right, now look, here's something else that they try to do. And they've done this throughout history when it comes to anything they don't like. For instance, back in the 50s, you had the lavender scare, and they started associating being gay with pedophilia and stuff like that. And pornography and weakness of mind and all that kind of stuff, they associated it with that. If you were gay, that's what they wanted people to think of. It's a method to dehumanize a group they don't like. It's a tactic used in war to dehumanize your enemy, to make it easier for you to get rid of them. And get rid of them, they sure tried in the 50s. You know, they institutionalized gay people. They used electroshock therapy on Alan Turing, the founder, basically, the creator of computer science. All of, I mean, and the person who built the, who broke the Enigma code for in World War II to help us win the war. But because he was gay, they said he must be institutionalized, and we'll just shock the shit out of him. Right. No, it didn't work. It never worked. But here they do it again. This time, though, they're going after transgender people. And they say, pornography manifested today in the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexualization of children. Da, 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 da. And they go on down and they say it has no claim to First Amendment protections. That's the second sentence after that one. That's the second sentence in that paragraph, folks. This is what they all have agreed to. This is a consensus document built by these 70, 75 plus organizations and over 400 individuals around this country who think that people who have a sexual orientation or gender identity different from them, who believe in reproductive rights, who support intersectionality, understand the importance of intersectionality, who do the research on all of these topics, these people have no claim to First Amendment protections. If they take the White House, they'll do it. Of course, they'll be sued. Litigation will ensue. But anyway, so let's just go right on down past this First Amendment protection bit. Yeah, so I'm going to highlight that part. So as you can see it, it has no claim to First Amendment protections. Its purveyors are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women. Their product is as addictive as any illicit drug and as psychologically destructive as any crime. Pornography should be outlawed. And what they mean is, since they've associated transgender people with pornography, that transgender people should be outlawed too. The people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned. The educators, public libraries who purvey it should be classed as registered sex offenders, and the telecommunications companies and technology firms that facilitate its spread should be shuttered. And with that, let's come back today at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 hour today into this stuff, but 6 p.m. Eastern time this evening. And let's talk some more, folks, because this stuff is dangerous. Let's have a conversation and go forward from there. And with that, let me go back over just to do my outro music here. So I actually like this kind of really heavy. It's energizing. And by the way, I just want to say this too. It's not all doom and gloom out here. we can beat it, but it's going to take all of us, organizations and individuals, working together, coming up with a plan, sticking to a narrative, and actually doing something about it, and putting our money where our mouth is. We've got to fight this stuff, folks. We got to fight it head on. And as a friend mentioned yesterday, that the old saying about when they go low, let me just miss that. When they go low, we should go high. Under ordinary conditions, that might be true, but right now that is not the case. When they go low, we've got to get down in the mud with them and absolutely win this fight. Because if we don't, they will surely erase us, delete us, and excise us from the whole of government. With that, tomorrow at noon too. Have a good one. It's very chilly. Very, very chilly.